Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I'm Willem. Got my co-host over here, the Greeze. Say hello, Greeze.
Dude, you usually get upset, slightly uncomfortable when I put my hand on your shoulder, but you just went for it.
New year, new me. Know what I'm saying?
That's
a thing they say.
I feel like that's been my New Year's resolution for many years. It
Most
just wasn't
years.
this year.
You've never quite fulfilled it though. That's like kind of your problem.
I'm gonna put my hand on Will's shoulder more. Like that was my true resolution. I just didn't want to say it the other day.
That's fair. Well, you did it a lot last year. There was a lot of touching.
I did. Before we hop into this, because I feel like we're gonna have a lot to say tonight.
Oh, okay.
Just on the state of whiskey and what people are drinking and what we're seeing trend wise and stuff like that, which the last time we did an episode like this, people were just like, this is great.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't want to tell people to live up to that episode because the text started flying.
Was that our, what was the name of that episode?
By the way, Kim
Burnout
Schwartz,
or something?
Burnout. Yeah.
Whiskey Burnout.
Kim Schwartz is sponsoring this episode.
Oh, yeah. She sponsors a lot of episodes these days. Cheers to Kim.
Kelvin collaboration number 4.
Yeah.
From 4Gate.
Oh, my gosh.
We're getting some legs out of this.
Yeah, for sure.
Not
keep drinking.
You know what I'm...
Well, it does have nice legs.
It does have
You
nice
swirl that
legs.
in the glass.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Kim usually sends us whiskeys with nice legs.
Schwhiskeys?
Schwhiskeys.
Schwhiskeys.
Oh.
Schwhiskeys. Yeah, that's hard to say. She-shells by the seashore.
But
I'm not going to do that again.
Schwartz and whiskey together. Like how?
Schwhiskies.
Schwhiskies.
Yeah.
The Schwhiskies.
Yeah, I like it.
They could have their own channel.
That's what I call them. The Schwhiskies.
Although I don't feel like Mark would be up to it.
He's like, I'd rather just drink.
Yeah. For those of y'all that don't know, Kim and Mark are big supporters of our show and stuff like that. That's why we're talking about them. Because we see them a lot on Town Hall. We see them on VBN.
That's right.
We see them in Oak and Thieves stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, people that are that connected, it's hard to run away from them.
That's right.
You know?
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we get to the topic, what you alluded to already that we're going to talk about, like when people are drinking and stuff and trying
right.
I pulled up, this is interesting today. I saw this lawsuit. And I know there's nothing that gets you in the mood to drink whiskey and just yak than a good lawsuit.
Yeah.
This is a class action lawsuit filed in
that means you just get like $5.
Well, it depends on how many people are in the class.
Every class that I've been in, it's been like, please submit this form for $2.43.
Oh, like that data breach one recently, the Experian. That was one like 2 years ago you had to sign up for if they like maybe release your data. And like the check was like $427.
Right.
Not great.
Right. They're not.
Not even worth the time, really.
Exactly. So go ahead and tell me about this class action suit.
So this was filed in United States District Court, Northern District of Illinois, and this is against Sazerac.
Yes.
So
the beast.
So they're going after
who is
him.
it? Is it just some Joe Schmo?
Well, it's Josephine Schmo because it's Anna Marquez is the name.
Okay.
It says Anna Marquez individually and on the behalf of all others similarly situated against the Sazerac Company Incorporated, class action complaint, jury trial demanded.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay, this is already shaping up to be not good.
Okay, so it's all over Fireball. And when I first started reading about it, I know this is like right up your alley.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course it's all over about fireballs.
So I thought, reading one of the headlines before I read the complaint, I didn't even skim the article, I thought it was going to be over the fact that they were calling Fireball cinnamon whiskey, and it wasn't whiskey. That's where I thought it was going, right? I'm like, oh, yeah, I'd be outraged, too. They duped me into drinking this
Bernie
non-whiskey.
Lovers taught me how to read a label, and this is not accurate.
Well, it's not that it is labeled whiskey. It's that, have you seen these? And I actually saw these when I was in Alabama, and I was shocked, and I didn't do enough investigation, but now I learned what I was looking at. I was in the Walmart in Oxford, Alabama a few weeks back, and I saw Fireball in the Walmart. And I was like, you can't, this is not an ABC. You can't buy
Right.
liquor in the grocery store.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Walmart's up to something, but I didn't inspect it further. That's what this entire class action lawsuit is against. There is now being sold by Sazerac Company Fireball Cinnamon. And it just says on the label, Fireball Cinnamon, red hot, as opposed to what you'd buy in the liquor store, which is Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey. Almost the exact same label, but one says Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey, the other is just Fireball Cinnamon. And
So
those
people,
shots,
at Walmart are getting super pissed because they think they're buying Fireball and it ends up not
what they're
being.
doing is they're buying, and they're only 99 cents. They're super cheap in the
getting
Walmart.
buzz, Harold.
No, they'd still be getting a buzz, but that's a malt liquor. Like it's like a cinnamon flavored, like Old English or something. You know, like a malt.
So there is
beverage.
alcohol in it.
Yeah, still
How can
alcohol.
they sell those in Walmart?
It's not liquor. It's not distilled spirits.
So it's like a beer.
It's like a malt liquor.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like Old English or something. I said this. Like a Colt 45.
Bacardi
is a malt
03 and
yeah,
stuff
like those type of things are malt liquors. It's a different category. It's not distilled spirits. It's a malt beverage is what they call it.
Smirnoff Ice.
And those are all malt beverages. So it'd be like selling a Smirnoff Ice in a 99-cent shooter.
Mm-hmm.
But this is for 99 cents in the grocery store, in the liquor store, not liquor store, in the gas station. They're selling these little shooters that are just Fireball Cinnamon, not Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey. So that is literally the entire complaint against it, is saying that one writer who saw a huge Fireball display in front of the cash register at a gas station wondered if that specific store was doing something they're not supposed to be doing by selling cinnamon flavored whiskey.
Okay, so where's the class action lawsuit? Like, what's she pissed about?
Well, they are saying that liquor stores reported a decline in sales of Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey, confirmed by their customers who told them they preferred to purchase it for the lower price elsewhere. Because the shooters,
but it's
but
not
isn't
accurate.
a shooter at the liquor store, like if you buy a mini bottle, it's probably only like $1.50.
It's 30%. It's 60 proof. The normal Fireball, right?
Yeah,
I'm 90% sure it's 60%, 30%. So while it's cheaper,
well,
it's not as much alcohol.
Well, but they also put on it, it says malt beverage with natural whiskey and other flavors and caramel color. They're saying it's a clever turn of phrase because the malt beverage with natural whiskey and other flavors. They're saying it's a whiskey flavor, not natural whiskey, and they're saying it's deceptive advertising. That they are literally trying to get away with it. It's in the lowest font allowed.
Okay, how many liquor producers, distilled spirit producers, don't get clever with their labels?
Well, but they do have a point.
Scheme.
They do have a point.
Yeah, I
when
understand.
they're selling one product to make it look as close as possible to the other thing so that they can hit a new market. And it does have a lower alcohol content.
So it's all about a new market. So is the outrage about it being a new market, or is the outrage because somebody couldn't get tipsy off the other ones?
Well, I mean, I'm sure they could get tipsy after enough of them, but they're saying it's deceptive marketing and that they are being
they're just
defrauded
upset
to some degree, or they are being wronged, harmed by the deceptive practices alleged in the lawsuit against the Sazerac.
One of the biggest selling whiskeys currently.
Yeah.
Like massive money because
So
it doesn't take them long to make them.
The Illinois class is all persons in the state of Illinois who purchased the product during the statutes of limitations for cause of action alleged. Yeah, I think it's pretty funny.
So they're just class action lawsuit because it is false advertising.
Well,
That's it?
I can look for the...
I just want to hear somebody get pissed off and be like,
well, clearly there's some people in Illinois that are unpleased about it. I mean, they filed a lawsuit. I'm
that's
talking
fair.
to you, Anna Marquez.
yeah, I would be upset if I paid for 30 proof and I got 10.
Yeah. Well, and
Especially
I think
in my favorite spirit.
I think there may be some people that is part of their problem. A lot of times class action lawsuits are the people actually upset. That's the other thing. Like, this isn't like one of those large class action. This isn't like Roundup
You know who wins?
that
Attorneys.
had like actually people were getting sick and ill. It's like, this is over. It was arguably maybe a little bit better for you.
Yeah.
This may be one of the few times where it's like the product was better for me. I'm very upset. I'm suing you because my Fireball Cinnamon is different than my Fireball Cinnamon whiskey.
Fireball already tastes like cinnamon water.
Well, and I think that's probably the point, is that a lot of people may have not known, even in the flavor, it probably tasted very similar.
But dude, it's one of my favorite like party girl shots.
I'm well aware.
Like when I go, like at Joey's, my buddy Joey's bachelor party, I go there and I come out with like 8 Fireball shots and be like, Fireball shots.
Yeah.
And like, this is when like I have a palate for whiskey and Fireball is not good. It's just not good.
Yeah.
But I still get it every time because it's like that, hey, party, you know, like, hey, party's here sort of kind of mentality every time. It's just like, you know, showing up to a tailgate with Milwaukee's best and everybody's just like, oh, the beast. Yeah. Like, you just want that.
There's a lot of people that go Fireball.
Yeah, like I can't come out with 10 shots of Jack and have that reaction.
So there is a little bit of a twist in what they're alleging of how they're being defrauded.
There's a sidebar.
Well, it's interesting logic. There's a lot of gymnastics in the brain going on.
Will just read it.
I didn't read the whole 12-page complaint. I'm sorry.
Right.
But what they're saying is that some people were saying, like, liquor stores are harmed because they're seeing people think, oh, I'm going to buy it cheaper at Walmart.
Right.
And then there's other people that are saying, I've been harmed because I was trying to buy Fireball cheaper at such store outside the liquor store, but I was actually getting ripped off because I was paying a premium price of 99 cents for something I thought, because I was okay paying 99 cents because I thought I had higher alcohol. But because of the deceptive marketing, it actually was a lot less alcohol. It's not worth what I was paying.
That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah, no, you are right. But at one point they're losing revenue because they're buying it cheaper. But then on the other hand, they're like paying a premium, 99 cents. It literally spells out. It says,
well, probably the price versus the proof.
It says, as a result of the false and misleading representations, the product is sold at a premium price, 99 cents per 50 milliliters.
I mean, they might be on it.
I love it. It's hilarious.
I mean,
I'm hilarious too.
I'm kind of pro Maria, or what was that her name?
Anna.
Oh, Anna Marie.
Anna Marquez. You are way off.
I was way off.
Where did you go to law school? Hard Knocks.
I'm trying to remember. Somewhere around the Second Amendment.
Oh.
Breathing past the First Amendment.
That was your law school? That was the extent of it? Did you take the LSAT?
It's called Foundations of Freedom, Will, and I took it like a man.
That's an interesting way to say that. Took it like a man.
It is.
But hey, so I would just say word of the wise, unless you are looking specifically for a malt beverage product, don't buy your Fireball from gas stations and or grocery stores.
Now, here's the thing about that class action lawsuit.
Are you going to sign up in the class?
100%. I
No, but you haven't bought I highly doubt you've bought the wrong one.
I highly doubt I haven't.
You've bought in Fireball you've bought in? Is bought in a word?
I haven't bought it. I haven't bought it in Walmart. But Lord here's the deal, dude. I don't know what Fireball I did buy. But I bought it.
Yeah. But you probably bought it at a liquor store.
Probably, but who's to say they didn't get the premium price stuff?
I don't know. Well, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know the answer, but I feel like they'd be like, I don't want that.
You don't
because that's got to be what? Like a shot has got to be at best like 12% alcohol, right? Like
a shot
at best of the malt beverage one. Of the bottled and
so
fraud.
That would be, I think that would be considered like a high gravity.
Right.
Like I think it's got to be 5%.
No, malt liquor typically has higher alcohol content.
Okay.
I believe.
We're shooting from the hip right now.
Yeah.
Why would we not?
That's how we always roll.
We've been doing it
talking-
since 7 years ago.
That's called Fireball Shooting from the Hip.
We're coming up on our 8th year.
No.
Like we're completing our 7th.
Yes.
So we're coming up on our 8th year.
Well, right. We will be entering.
It makes
the
us
8th
feel
year.
cooler if you say it like that.
Yeah.
It's like the Sazerac label.
Right. Makes you feel better about
It's
yourself.
clever. It's clever.
Oh, man. So speaking of that, like, because a lot of people are obviously drinking the wrong stuff. I was thinking the other day, and I was just seeing, we're still in that now what feels like a perennial allocation season because so many places are holding on to their stock and releasing it later and or doing small lotteries at a time. Like, I mean, we're in January, 2 weeks into January, and I'm still seeing like Pappy raffles, right?
Yeah. I was just going to say in the comments, y'all just say kind of how your liquor stores are doing allocations this year, because it's kind of like odd across the board.
Yeah, and to that point, if you're putting it in the chat, if you're watching on YouTube, also give us a thumbs up while you're at it. Subscribe to the channel. It really helps us. And if you're listening to the podcast feed, give us a 5-star rating and review. That really helps as well. But it kind of it came to me the other day because I went to a few different liquor stores, and there was a lot of single barrels in stock of really good things. And some that I was surprised were still there. Others that I'm like, okay, yeah, it'll take you a minute to get through that because it maybe is a lesser known brand. But just there was a lot of options, more options than I was used to seeing in multiple stores of like, man, you've got a lot of picks right now. And that coupled with people always complaining about the way that liquor stores run their allocations and not getting them. And then also just knowing of what's on the shelf that you can't regularly buy, like just regular Buffalo Trace, regular Eagle Rare. I mean, it's still hard to find Old Granddad where we live.
Right.
Like if you want bottled and bond Old Granddad or 114, you're going to have to hit a couple stores.
114 is actually harder to find than the bottled and bond right now. For me,
I haven't seen either of them in months. I've found a 114 recently. So
we need to shop it separately.
Yeah. You tell me where you're shopping, and I'll go shop there. You shop where I'm shopping, and then we will be happy men. But it's part of the problem is like even some of the lower shelf purchases or more budget minded purchases are still hard to find, and then we know that people are the prices of whiskey are high. I'm trying to figure out what people are buying what people are drinking.
Well, let me go and ask you, what are you buying?
Yeah. So, and this is what makes it interesting is one, my New Year's resolution a couple weeks back was buy less and drink more. So I am drinking a lot of stuff that I already have open, trying to get through bottles, but I'm still buying store picks, and I'm buying $30-ish bourbons that I want to either make old fashions with or find a drink neat. So I'm not necessarily exploring a ton.
So you're buying it for both, like one whiskey for both reasons?
If it's a shelf,
like if you want to make a cocktail with it and you want to,
if it's a regular shelf sitter, I'm typically buying something that is versatile, that I don't mind mixing, but I also would be happy drinking by itself. So
that's interesting.
For example,
because I would have
Dickel 8-year, right? It's like $35. Solid, drinks really good, but also is good in old fashioned. Wild Turkey 101, those type of products are the ones I'm purchasing if they're on the shelf. But the ones that I'm buying just as like drinkers are store picks that I find unique or interesting, and I'm drinking through them pretty quick. Like we're gonna do one on the 15 that I'm really really like, but I'm almost getting in ruts of like, oh, I like this, I'm gonna drink through it, and then I may go buy another bottle of it and drink through that one. And so I'm not hoarding a bunch. I'm not getting a ton of stuff from different angles, but I would say the things I purchase the most are store picks still. So that is still in the vein of what I like. A lot of times I know the type of quality of barrels that are coming from these areas, as well as the people who pick them from the store. So that's where I'm leaning on. And it's the things that are on the shelf, because you see new products with higher price tags popping up all the time, that it's turning me off very quickly. And I'm going and grabbing, for instance, those Rittenhouse Rye picks that are $35. This, which we're going to do on the 15. This is a new Old Soul Cask Strength pick I picked up at Elixir the other day. It's about, I think it's like $60 or $70.
Oh,
really good.
Oh,
But it's I'm a big fan of the stuff that Cathead Distillery is putting out through the Old Soul line. So I'm happy with that.
I want to try that.
The ones, this is going to be the 15. Dang it. Well, I mean, you can
hit the music.
And we're back from the 15.
So say we never left, Will. I love this so much. We're like 20 minutes in, and I wanted to drink that, so we went to the 15.
Yeah, and we're just going to continue our conversation. But this is that's glass that almost cut my lip open the other week. Got to be careful with it.
Still
yeah, see, but it's fine. I'll just keep an eye on it.
It's been washed.
I know it's sparkling clean, like so much so that I can see the razor's edge.
Okay, this smells delicious.
But this is 115.84 proof. It's a single barrel that Tarak picked, and it's 74% corn, 21% rye, 4% malted barley, distilled in Indiana. But you know how much I love the Red Dog pick that I bought
100%.
cases of.
And that wasn't the cask strength.
No, that was the one that they were standardizing, and I still think you can get some picks of those as well. And I loved it, and I've drank through so many bottles. I still have bottles left over. But this
looks dark.
Also, it's got a gold lettering, like gold foil lettering, and a navy blue label. It's just sexy looking. But I love what they're
very
putting out.
floral.
Yeah. It still has some of that rawness that
it has
like from the other one.
Yeah, it's got I'm getting a lot of corn. But then there's so much flavor that's not corn.
See, I'm not getting corn. I get butterscotch and floral and in the vanilla.
I'm just getting it's kind of drinking. Well, it's not drinking 115. I'm saying
it's not drink 115 proof.
Yeah,
I definitely agree with that. But these are the type
this
of things.
goes down like water.
These are the unique type of picks that I'm trying to seek out, and that's what I'm drinking mostly. And so, what confuses me is when I see
almond
very like wide range of like limited releases. Like the one that comes to mind the most to me is like the Blue Run. Have you seen those bottles? It has like a butterfly. They're expensive. Each one is different. Like the batches are different, and you find them places. 4-Gate also expensive. 4-Gate's delicious, by the way, but you see those kind of coming up, and there's a wide range. So expensive.
I mean,
they're
$299,
about $200, I think. It depends on the pick.
Yeah,
I think.
It depends on the pick.
But there's so many different ones that I don't know. That's what kind of makes me anxious, is that if it were like one release and everyone's talking about it, right? And there's a lot of them, and you can go get it, and it's $200. I may be more inclined, but I get gun shy because I'm like, well, I know this one's really good, the one that you got for your birthday from Kim and Mark, but I get nervous. I'm like, what if it's I don't know what the profiles are like. I don't know if it's completely out of left field for the next one.
Yeah.
So it makes me nervous to go down there. So I'm like, okay, I'll spend $60-$70 on a pick from someone I know I love the whiskey they pick and not think twice about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll spend $140, grab two of them, and know I'll be pleased with it. So that's just kind of where I'm sitting. That's one of the reasons why we love like the whiskey that is coming from Oak and Thieves. Even the ones that are $100 a bottle, like the Nulus, are still so unique and so consistent. And if you know the palette and the profile of the things that you and I like and James and Bob like, you know that you can trust it. You can spend that money on that bottle and know that's gonna not just be horrible or just something I'm not in tune with.
Well, you can speak into that about the different groups that are doing barrel programs. Number one, support them. join their groups. But the thing about it is that those channels or those people, the barrel programs and stuff, if you like what they have picked before, then you're going to like what they're doing because it's going to be consistent.
Right.
If you believe in the fact that they're going to go in there and pick the best barrel out of 6 or 9 or 10 or whatever, how many barrels, then you just got to rest in that. You got to trust in that and support that. And so, but the bourbon groups right now, or the barrel club people, they're seeing a weird dynamic right now.
Yeah.
Out and about. There are some retailers that have to ship nationwide and stuff like that. You know, there's several, I'm not naming any names, but there are barrel club people on there with, 20 barrels that they're still sitting on that they can't move. And these are big. I mean, these have big followings.
Yeah,
and so
way bigger than us.
Way bigger than us. And so you're seeing those barrels kind of sit there, which is super confusing to me because if you ask any of the whiskey enthusiasts that we have known over the past 7 years, they're not just jumping in here to get Blanton's or Weller. You know what I mean?
Sure.
They've been here and they're, somewhat whiskey diverse enough. Are they buying, like, I would think that they would be buying single barrels because they're all saying it.
Right.
But they're all sitting there like, and the barrels aren't moving. And I think it has the new whiskey, new whiskey fan that's come in, have they now trumped the amount of people that were already into it?
Sure.
Like, because those people, I don't think value or see the value in store picks. They're just not there yet.
Well, and here's the other question.
Because it took us a while.
Here's the other question to that, though, is it's looked to some degree that there are bubbles within bourbon collecting, the growth, how quickly it's growing, how quickly the distilleries expand, how many private labels you see coming up, how many non-distiller producers spring up. Like, there was a ton popping up when we first started this almost 7 years ago. You can walk into a store and see a brand new brand that you've never seen before almost every week. Right.
That's what I noticed with Matt Madness this year is that the bottles that we were seeing coming out and like the stuff getting reviewed, like I was like, I don't know half this stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I actually pay attention.
Right.
And so there's so much coming out.
Well, and so that's also the question, like, does it hit like bubble status where people are overwhelmed? There's too many options. So they just revert back to one thing. Are the people who have been collecting and drinking for the 7 years we've been around, that we've been doing this, and us being casual whiskey drinker collectors for years before that, are their collections so big now that they're just like, I really don't know that I'm going to be able to differentiate between these two. So I'm just not getting either right now. I'm going to go home and drink what I have. Like, is there that problem as well? And it's like, well, I already have 10 of these. I was going to say like a name that was on the tip of my tongue, but I already have 10 of these one non-distiller producer that has really good single barrels, but every store has had 5 of them over the past 2 years. And so now I have way too many and I haven't drank through all of them. Like, they're really good, but I don't need another one. So is this critical mass of hoarding of bottles, not in like the really negative term, but of just like, I'll pick one up. It's $50. It's another $50. Are we at this critical mass where that, coupled with people looking at a uncertainty in the economy, for sure, we've had that for over a year now, where, well, really since the napalm was thrown on the economy in general of like stimulus money and things of that, and very cheap credit, which accelerated things extremely fast, especially during the pandemic when things should have been going haywire. It kept the country afloat to some degree, but then as that's going to catch up at some point, and it's been uncertain for the entire past year, and economists and politicians and everyone, to whether or not there is going to be an economic downturn or whether or not it is going to be self-fulfilling prophecy of them. If you keep telling people something bad's going to happen and people stop spending money, then something bad's going to happen.
So you were anticipating
does that happen there as well?
The writing on the wall for you is you were anticipating a backslide in the whiskey industry as far as money.
So I think that there, as with any business cycle, there are booms and busts, and the jet-fueled acceleration of the bourbon industry specifically, or the American whiskey category, has been so fast and so steep with the increase that it's just the laws of nature, the laws of markets, that it's an unsustainable acceleration. There will be some sort of correction. It doesn't mean that everyone quits liking it. It doesn't mean, and we've talked about this before.
Well, we're seeing a correction right now for sure.
Yeah, and you'll see brands that had, that were just a couple years too late, that are putting out the exact same Indiana distillate or the same Kentucky distillate that another brand is, that doesn't have their foothold down, or they don't have as good of a marketing plan. Or you see 5 for every one that make it, 5 fall away just because they were buying up barrels, and the price of barrels is absurd for that, for the supply side. Yes. Like just buying barrels now of generic MGP whiskey, if you can get it, that instead of being, 8+ years old now, you're hitting 4, you just have non-age stated straight whiskey is like, thousands of more dollars, probably double for the wholesale side of it.
Yeah. And even if you have your own cooperage, you're still looking at doubling your wood costs.
Yeah, it's just like the amount of money going into it. Now, the investments that the big guys like Knob Creek by the Jim Beam Distillery, with their putting up their more specialty brands, but also being able to raise output. A lot of them are doing that. The $1 billion investment that Sazerac put into Buffalo Trace's distillery, like, I think over the long term, the effects of their investment and their cost of materials will even out because they're going to be aging it up longer. But in the here and now, when you're looking at new brands, or you're like, even if you hit one that's hot and you really like it because they got a good run of MGP barrels in their climate where they aged it another year or two. Even Old Soul, they're taking MGP and they're just taking it to Jackson, Mississippi, which is swampy and hot and filthy. And
I'm actually fine with that. It's like if you're offering a new climate,
I'm saying like even that, like just the cost of them getting to market is going to be exponentially more than someone who has the luxury of expanding with $1 billion.
The more people in between you, of your idea and your delivery, the more people in between those two things, you got to find a cost-effective way of doing that. And if there's a lot of things in there, then their margins aren't as high.
Right.
And honestly, non-distiller producers, that's kind of the model for them.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like I said, that there's so many new ones that keep coming out that it's gonna have to correct sharply. I feel like the cycles are not typically like really sharp, steep increase, very slow, delicate landing. They're typically business cycles are typically symmetrical, where if you have a sharp rush especially to a bubble, it either bursts and you go boom right to the bottom, or it's just a very quick deceleration. And especially if it's a product that's a consumer product that has a premium to it, you are going to start to see people stop buying things.
Do you think the supply is going to be the corrector, or do you think other factors? Because right now, everybody's just waiting for all that stock to be aging up and be like, oh man, now everybody gets Blanton's.
Well, and see,
you know what I mean?
But I think that that's kind of what people would say is maybe the common wisdom of like, oh, just wait until we get that supply. But I think we have more supply of American bourbon, which bourbon is American, but more supply of it than we probably have ever had because of how much from MGP, how much these brands did double down in their production efforts. And yes, I mean, the end game of having more Weller, more Blanton's, and more Buffalo Trace, more Eagle Rare for that brand is just a very small slice of it. I think that could be the death nail for a lot of people because they can still continue to keep their SRPs low. And for a lot of the non-distiller producers that have to be highly priced, especially because they bought, it's almost like, remember when Southwest bought all those fuel futures?
Yes.
Now they're, have their own issues now, but like one of their,
they didn't think about one future.
Their meteoric like rise was because they bought all the gas futures super low and were able to offer low fares because their fuel supply was costing them a lot less than Delta and United and a lot of the other brands. It's like the opposite of that with a lot of these NDPs, that they put together a great business plan and they had a really good idea and they wanted to one day make their own whiskey and they wanted to get to market, or they just thought they were savvy, but they bought so high that when there is a correction, their whiskey's just going to sit on the shelf.
Yeah.
Because even if it's good quality
bigger
product,
distilleries would want that to happen?
Of course.
Yeah.
I think while they all say, like this is good for what's good for everybody. No, they're still,
especially not
want
NDPs,
to take down. Yeah, because at the end of the day, that's just them. It's almost like homogenized to some degree. It's not, because there is a lot of variance between the stuff that comes.
Well,
and some
like,
there is.
Good job selling a whiskey that's not yours.
Right.
Kind of like that attitude. And, we've talked to Dixon in the past, and he's like, he's been firm on like, you got to do something.
Yeah, I'm not just going to put a label on someone else's whiskey.
Exactly. But there's a lot of companies out there that just do that.
Yeah. And I don't have a problem with it.
I don't either, but they're going to be the first ones to fall. And if they've got big time money behind them to make, a smaller margin because it's easy and quicker, you're going to fall quicker.
Yeah.
If that happens.
Yeah. And so that's where, and I am curious, I would love for people to be putting down below like what they are currently buying, what they're drinking.
Right.
Because I honestly don't know. I don't know what people are into right now.
Yeah.
And just seeing how high and absurd some of the one-offs are getting. I don't know that the limited releases that are like the new allocations, I don't know that they're becoming better whiskey. Like people always compare, Scotch has, these people think that it's expensive, that there's a SRP of, $500 or $1,000. You should see some of these Scotches. It's like, yeah, but those were aged in Scotland for 40 years, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not huge temperature swings. Reuse casks,
windy.
It's very windy. It's a windy climate.
It's a pretty windy.
It's like
climate.
the Chicago of the UK.
It's like there's one weather, and then there's windy, and then there's different weather.
Yeah, completely different.
It's almost like a backwards cheeseburger. Not that windy.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right.
I almost tried to pronounce the word windy backwards, and I was like, nope, not going to do it. Just can't do it. Don't even try. It's going to mess with your head.
Idnu.
Nah.
Idnu.
Yeah.
Idnu.
But all that to say is like those products, whether they're worth it or not, like they are aging them a lot longer, and it's different. I feel like it is different. Instead of saying, here's X product. By the way, we also finished it.
Right.
You want to pay $500.
Right.
What'd you finish it in?
I'm not naming anything, but like if you take a stock that other people are putting out that's $40, you take that stock and you throw it in a rum barrel for 6 months and sell it for $120. Good on you if people buy it. Good on you. I've got a sidebar here that I think is going to take us somewhere, but
I'm fine with it. Are you? Well, first of all, for our
keeps it here.
Buy bar pass for this.
Oh, that's a buy. How much is it?
I think it's about $70.
70. Gonna need another sip.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll do it for you.
70 seems a little high.
I agree, but I think it's also where we are priced.
new normal?
Yeah.
Stupid. All right, that's good. Gosh, Will.
Sorry, it was a mistake. Now they have
mouthfeel alone. I would say $70. Yep.
They have $100.
It's just
tin type is what it's called. It's the tin type series, and it's 7 years old, and I love it.
I'm going back to the Kelvin 4, just because I know what a high end bottle is.
Yeah,
and I just want to saunter for a second, just see where we're at on this.
I hear you.
Okay. I think Old Soul for me is a bar. It's $70. This is double times the goodness.
You think the Old Soul's a bar?
I do think it's a bar. Okay. Bar lean by. I'm on the fence.
I bought 2 of them.
Great.
Yeah. I also bought he has a Riverset pick.
Riverset picks are great.
I know. I bought one of those. I haven't opened it yet, but
okay. So
by the way,
you're a buy. You're a buy 2 of them. I
bought 2 of them and I enjoy it.
I'm not
a
bar lean buy.
That's fine.
Yeah. But you ready for my sidebar?
Always.
So
sidebar or sorry buy?
Who sells single barrels in stores? Retailers. They're retailers.
Sure. Okay. I was like, is this a trick question? I think just liquor stores.
Who gets allocations? Retailers.
Right.
If you're not selling single barrels and your whiskey budgets are getting low, are we going to see a divisional shift here?
But remember, it's not just whiskey that gets you allocations.
I understand that. I'm just saying, look at all these stores. I know a few stores that haven't even peeked their head over the counter yet. They're watching other stores to see how they push them out. Are they getting a return on the investment? Or are they treating their big customers right? Is it a lottery? Are they utilizing Facebook and Instagram posts to release one bottle at a time to drum up some business?
He's back, baby. Greeze just spilled his glass and licked it off the table, which this paint is the worst quality lead paint you can buy. And
bad.
Whenever anything touches it, it literally takes an entire layer off.
It does.
And Greeze drinks it.
Honestly, that was the better whiskey I've tried off of there. It's in my beard, though.
Was that the Kelvin or was that the Old Soul?
Oh, no. It was the Kelvin. It was the Kelvin.
That's some pricey paint.
That sucks. It went to the back of my throat. And it's lead paint. But, so these retailers, they're having to sit there and at least pump the brakes and think about this.
Yeah.
Because do they bundle, for every store pick you buy?
People hate the bundles.
Do you get a ticket? No. This is more like a drawing.
But you know who does that is
Don.
Don does it as well as who's been doing it forever as Main Street Liquors in East Nashville.
So
they would even hold single barrels for their allocation party. They would release single barrels specifically for it, so people had opportunities.
That's cool.
And it wasn't.
Now they're not doing that. I bet.
I mean, they still do the thing. I don't think they're holding single barrels,
right?
But they still do that. And I've always thought that's
unless
fair
it's like a Four Roses.
That's also a little bit different than a bundle because it's it's still a raffle and it's not. It's typically a spirit you still want, right?
Right.
It's not like the bundle of the Wheatley vodka or the Fireball with the...
Which I'm fine with those bundles.
People can do whatever they want.
People can... Number one, retailers can do whatever they want. And two, why not? Why don't you need a bottle of vodka? You can gift that away if you don't want
it. My wife has been making dirty martinis habitually for the last few weeks. They are... You're gonna laugh. I shouldn't admit this. They're so good.
They're so dirty.
They're so good. She there's this Instagram account, the Cheese Gal. It's she's a local Nashville lady.
Okay.
Great stuff, by the way. She's got a great prime rib
what kind
recipe.
Of stuff?
like stuff to do, like recipes and stuff.
Okay.
She had this bizarre thing that Samantha made me watch for weeks about her dad being conned by a woman he was dating that had like an intervention. Fascinating. Loved
That was
it.
just a sidebar for Cheese Lady?
Cheese gal.
Cheese gal.
And it was a sidebar that was like weeks to tell. Like she would just sit there and do stories for hours. We watched them. They're pretty good. But this dirty martinis, you get the blue cheese. She like Samantha stuffs the olives herself and like she pours
What does she stuff with it?
into the blue cheese and mixes it up and then puts it in like a cake icer and then sticks it in a pitted olive and squeezes. Like it's real good.
It's top notch.
And so then I've been mixing her up some dirty martinis that we put the olives in. You do the olive brine, a little bit of vodka, shake it up real nice. So I've had a couple of them because it's delicious and you get a snack. And snack involved, I'll drink it.
That's
Bloody
like that-
Mary, I'm in.
What was
dirty
that?
martini? Only if there's 4 olives, but yes. Make me an extra
was
one.
that?
So I've had a couple of them, but it's been nice to have. I had like a bottle of Wheatley that I bought at some point, and we ran out of whatever the fancy brand that Samantha wanted of vodka, and I was like, "Use some Wheatley." So we did. We did.
Why'd you have to wink at her like that? Did you weird her out?
She's like, I have no idea why you're saying this.
Right.
Oh,
It's like sometimes I do that to Lauren. Like I look at her and I'm like,
want some Wheatley? And she's like,
Yeah.
why? What does that
It's
mean?
like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you don't.
She's
think
like, is that Tito's?
you don't think that's hot? And she's like,
No.
no, I don't.
Uh-uh.
Sometimes I think she might think it though.
Okay. Anyhow, so there's been some vodka has touched my lips
Yes.
within the last few weeks.
And I think that's fine.
But yeah, but that's the same. So one night we ran out and she wanted to make more olives and more martinis.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I have this bottle of Wheatley because you know when I bought it? When we did the vodcask, still had it.
Oh.
And I'm like, I have some vodka. So
Oh
I
my
ran and got
gosh.
it.
So it's just been sitting in your.
It's just been sitting in the shelf.
Right.
I mean, because it
We
wasn't
should
being.
have signed that bottle as Greeze and.
We should do.
Waz.
We should do the vodcask part 2,
Oh yeah.
and we drink these dirty martinis.
With the blue cheese.
Yeah, it's so good.
With the
Greeze.
blue cheese.
So good.
Blue cheese.
You're doing your accents again. I don't like it.
With like the blue cheese.
Russian. It's so good. No, you can't be pro Russian vodka anymore. Have you learned anything over the last year?
Yeah.
Oh.
Dixon Deadman left Kentucky Al.
Yeah.
There's a war.
Yeah, you're not supposed to like Russian vodka. You get anywhere but Russia.
Right. So
A-
Tito's.
ABR, anywhere but Russia. Well, Samantha gets like Belvedere, which is like Polish vodka.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is Svetka
Sweden.
Sweden? So that's fair game.
Yeah, you can go for it.
Unless they're a non-distiller producer and they're sourcing them stuff from Russia.
You know where Tito's vodka comes from? Not from Texas.
Russia.
Indiana. MGP.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, MGP vodka.
So they're just and they make so much money.
And you know how funny it would be if we got really into MGP vodka?
All you gotta do is
Like
be good
single
at marketing.
Well, I guess they don't barrel it. I was going to say single barrel vodka. No one would buy it. Maybe they would.
I mean, if you're gonna buy a bottle of vodka,
Might as well be
it might as well be a single barrel.
single barrel. What kind of barrel? Stainless steel.
Stainless steel.
It doesn't age at
single
all.
vat.
Yeah. No, you can still call it a barrel. It can be a
300
barrel.
distilled single vat release, unlimited, limited
What's that, like
edition.
that clicks.
Unlimited,
one?
limited
Yeah.
edition. I thought you.
There is unlimited amount of it, but
It's a limited
he
edition.
made it special for you.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
You got
check out the cheese gal.
You've got the winks tonight.
I do have the winks. I don't know why.
Yeah, you're cocking the winks at me. Just like what do you call that? That's
I'm not a good winker.
I mean, I don't want to say the word cocking, but that's what it is. Like you're cocking your eyes at me.
Shooting winks your way.
Shooting winks.
Yeah.
Man.
You thought you were shooting winks, but then you had to go back and get tested again because one of the winks wasn't
One of the winks was still kicking.
wasn't winky.
Yeah, it was still winking.
Oh man, so you never said what you're buying these days.
I'm buying store picks and kind of like somewhat special releases, like for instance, Barrel Seagrass, Barrel New Year. I got the Smoke Wagon.
Have you bought this year's New Year?
I did. Yeah.
So Samantha gave me, it had been 2018 or 20. Like we did it on the show a really long time ago.
Yeah, we've done them.
And
we've enjoyed them.
I love that.
That's why I got one this year.
It's actually a really well done blend.
Yeah. So I got one this year, and like Smoke Wagon stuff. I got some old Scout picks. I got the Tin Roof 14 that we had talked about.
Yeah.
So just kind of that stuff, but then outside of that, it's all store picks. It's all from Elixir, Fairview Liquors, and Red Dog, pretty much. That's what I'm hitting up.
Nice.
Got the latest Rittenhouse pick that you told me about.
Have you tried it yet?
I have not.
That's the one from Red Dog.
I don't even know where it is right now.
Yeah.
It's in my car, I think. I think it's still in my car. I gave you yours, though, so you can.
You did. Yeah. No, you definitely did.
Yeah.
Didn't say anything
I just
about
didn't want you,
there was no
thinking
negativity.
it was still in the car.
Yeah, that happened before.
It has.
It's just the colder months.
Oh, 100%.
You just chill filtering it.
Yes. You don't want to deal with
I personally
95
chill
degree.
filter all my whiskey. If I get a cask strength unchill filter, I throw that bad boy in
Listen,
the freezer.
If that
and
thing
then I
ain't
get me out some cheesecloth and I just filter it.
Man, if that thing ain't cloudy enough, I pee in it.
Then you filter it.
No.
Oh, no, you want it to be cloudy.
You want it to be cloudy.
Nah, I chill filter it.
Like, so if you get a chill filtered whiskey bottle,
That's disgusting.
you got to take a multivitamin first.
Oh, because
Get
it's
that
healthy.
stuff dark
But then it's also healthy.
and nutrients.
Yeah, you have to get that expensive pee.
And you
That's what they
and you
call
just
it.
pee in that bottle.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's cloudy.
You looking for one that you peed in?
I hadn't peed in any of these.
Hey,
Recently.
um,
This has pee in it.
I think that's it. I think we did it.
I
I think
think
we hit our limit.
we
Start talking
really-
about, we've got nothing else to say when we say we're peeing in bottles.
We really did it.
Thank you for listening. If you're listening to the podcast feed, go ahead and subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast app. And if you're watching on YouTube, thanks for this. We appreciate you all. Go ahead and subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. It helps us out. And look for our other content. We're about to shoot a video real quick after this that we'll be putting up in the coming days. And if you want to come hang out with us, we know you all do. There's a few of you I know you should be doing this right now because it's post-Christmas.
Yeah.
You can get in a little bit
You
of
got
trouble.
your mom's stimulus check.
Yeah, you just go for it, and you go to whiskeytainment.com because you're coming to Whiskey Weekend Batch 5, Franklin,
Homecoming.
Tennessee.
Shoot.
Let's do this. Go on. Right now, we got some spots left, and we want you to come hang out with us. It's going to blow your mind. You're going to have one of the greatest times you've ever had. So come check us out.
If you want to support single barrel picks, you can check out oakandthieves.com. That's
Yeah.
OAKANDTHIEVES.com.
And if you just want to support us in the regular old-fashioned way, patreon.com/thepodcast. That's going to do it for this week on the podcast. We don't know Jack.
But we'll drink it.